And we are live. Hello, everyone. Marco Montemagno here, founder of Super Summit SMEs Mobile Strategies 2014, and the final guest of this Thursday. And we really have a great guest to finish this long day, I have to say. And I'm really happy to have here with me Maximiliano Firtman, firt.mobi. I love your domain, Max. Hi, Max. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Everything great. I was joking before about the fact that you are in Argentina and will not talk about the World Cup, but okay, this is a topic that is too sensitive, for Argentinian people in this moment.
Well, not just for Argentina, also, well, besides Germans, all the other European countries are also in a bad situation, right?
Yeah, I would say now it's off topic, World Cup, Italy. I don't say. I mean, I live in UK. English people, they are really unhappy about the World Cup. So let's not talk about the World Cup. So, okay. Max, you have a huge experience in mobile, an amazing tech background. You write books. You are a speaker. You organize a lot of training. So you really into this world for a long time now, and you work with also big companies to support them, consult them about mobile and not only. Before to begin, you had in 3 minutes you showed me Google Glasses, the smartwatch. I never remember the name of the watch. An amazing thing that I will buy to write with your pen to show your stuff. But give me a little bit of overview of what you have around, because maybe you have more surprises.
Well, to be honest, yeah, I'm hopefully, because I work with gadgets, I'm a gadget guy. Right now, not here with me here in this table, but I have 43 different devices. And that means tablets, smartphones, feature phones, smart glasses, right, like the Google Glass. I have 3 smartwatches, right? This was the Samsung Gear Live, so it's the new one that works with any Android, not just with Samsung phones. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's this. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have a lot of devices. So. The main issue, right, the main problem I have usually is that if I have several devices on and you send me an email, right, my room looks like a Christmas tree, right? Like everything is shining and vibrating and making noise. So that's the problem I have. But okay, but I like gadgets.
No, it's great, and also if you're a developer, you need to test a lot of stuff. So it's good
exactly. That's why I have a lot of devices, right? Not just for fun, but for work.
Well, what's the best device? And then we start to talk about our things. But I'm just curious, I'm also I love gadgets, so I would like to see if you should suggest a gadget that you have in this moment that you're using that you're really happy and satisfied for a business purpose. Is it something that you really could recommend?
For business, well, to be honest, for business right now it's just the right device in terms of phone, tablet, phablet, or desktop, but it depends on each person. I'm not sure that on the terms of business there are like new gadgets. There are interesting gadgets for some very small businesses. For example, a Square. A Square is a little gadget that you can attach to an iPhone, to an Android, and charge with credit cards. So on your business, so without buying any service of that. So you just buy that little gadget, and then you need to subscribe to a system. You have a credit card, you pass your credit card on that little gadget. It's called a Square, right? And then you are charging with credit card. So I think that's a nice gadget for businesses.
Absolutely. And by the way, Jack Dorsey is the founder of Square, so big success and big future in front of them. So Max, what are we going to talk about today with you? Because you could talk about 1 billion topics, but we will try to get, let's say, one, and then try to go a little bit deeper with you. What's the
So the main topic is the mobile web and mobile apps, and try to understand where we are and where we are going in terms of mobile, and try to see how can we how can we success, right? Try to reach mobile users. So
Okay,
every user
fantastic.
right now is on a mobile device, different kind of mobile devices, and every company should comply with mobile devices somehow. And we always have the question of, okay, should I make an iPhone app, an Android app, a website? What happens with wearables? So that will be the main topic.
Okay, okay, fantastic. I wouldn't take other time off of you, and I would like just to go straight to your presentation. And when I have some question from the chat or from my brain, if it's still working at this time of the day, I will just be back to you.
Well, for me, it's 4 p.m., so I'm okay. I'm not tired yet. Okay,
All right.
so
Yeah, let's start.
let's start. So, again, well, thank you for the invitation to this online event. So again, my name is Maximiliano. Max is okay. I know it's a long name. First on Twitter. I'm from Argentina, right? Right now, I'm in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, but I have been traveling a lot, usually doing trainings, consulting, and a lot of conferences. I'm the author of these 2 books, Programming the Mobile Web and jQuery Mobile Up and Running, also with some translations to other languages. But let's talk about mobile, okay? So mobile is a must for every company today. Why? I'm pretty sure that most of you listening to this right now already know why, but basically mobile is everywhere and people are accessing and even buying things more from mobile. So your company needs to be in the mobile space somehow, and usually the question is how? Because we have a lot of devices, okay? So that's a picture of the floor of my house, and to be honest, that's a very old picture. I think it's like 3 years old. So right now I have 43 different devices, so I need to update my picture, but as you can see, it's not easy, but I think I will do it. I will do a new picture, but we have a lot of devices out there, and usually we have a limited budget, right, as a company. So how can we reach mobile users everywhere, like in an easy way? So usually the questions I receive from business people is, okay, which platform should I target? Okay, should I target iOS and Android? What's about BlackBerry or Windows Phone? Now the same question appears again with smartwatches and maybe smart glasses like the Google Glass. So to understand the future, let's just quickly go through the past, just to try to understand where we are. Okay, so the first mobile phone, approximately, roughly, has appeared like 20 years ago. That's not too much, right? Because if you look at how that phone looked like at the time, it's very different. In fact, that's not the first one, the one you're seeing on the screen. Only 15 years ago, okay, 15 years ago, digital services on mobile devices have appeared, like, for example, messaging or even the first games on a mobile device. So I have started doing mobile development in 2000, 2001. So that's more roughly 15 years ago. So I have been in the market during the whole life of the mobile digital life. Okay, so I have been doing SMS apps. I have been doing the old WAP development, WAP, that were the old, very old websites for black and white fault lines devices. 11 years ago, right? The new color devices have appeared, even with the camera. Okay, so the first devices out there with the camera have appeared 11 years ago only. So not so far. Okay, in this case, you are seeing on the screen a game that I have developed at that time. It's an Argentinian card game called Truco. Truco. Okay, trick in Spanish. So I have been doing games and apps since that. So if you try to compare your current smartphone with those smartphones, because at the time that was the name we were using, smartphones, for the phones you are seeing on the screen, the difference is really a huge difference, okay? Not just because of the screen size or because of the touch capabilities, but also because of the, let's say, the availability. So right now, everybody has a smartphone. Maybe not everybody, but It's roughly 30-40% of the population has a smartphone. So right now that means a touch device. But also because of the things that we can do. Because at the time, right, at the time, 11 years ago, only a few people had smartphones, right? So I was a lucky one at the time. But right now, everybody can access a smartphone. 10 years ago, okay, as I was saying before, then apps with camera have started. 8 years ago, GPS and web browsing, okay, just 8 years ago. 7 years ago, the iPhone. And if you look at that iPhone 7 years ago, it looks pretty much the same as the current iPhone. I mean, from a naked eye, okay? So it's just a big touch screen, and that's all, and one button. And we are talking about basically a new revolution on the mobile space, because right now, roughly, every mobile phone looks like the original iPhone, okay? Of course, we have bigger phones, slimmer phones, but roughly, well, that was basically like a breakpoint in the market, right? The iPhone. Only 4 years ago, the iPad has appeared as the first tablet. Okay, so it seems like we have been
sorry,
dealing
Max,
with
sorry, Max, to interrupt you, but
Go ahead.
it's amazing. You really make me think about the first presentation of Steve Jobs. Do you remember when he presented the smartphone? And we had so many doubts about the smartphone, about, I don't know, the touch screen, that then if you touch the screen too much will become dirty and you'll not be able to use it, so it would never have worked, and so many doubts, and it was a game changer instead, and everything changed after that.
Yeah, sure. In fact, if you think about the iPad, right, when the iPad has appeared, a lot of people were saying tablets won't work. This is just a big iPhone. Who wants a big iPhone, right?
Yeah. Why should you bring also another tablet with you? And yeah, crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And now we can see. But if you think about this, it seems like we have been living with tablets for a very long time, and it's just 4 years, right? It was May 2010, the iPad presentation, right? So just 4 years ago. So it's incredible, right, that we get used so quickly to the new technology that we don't realize how fast this is really happening. And right now, right, today, we have smartwatches. We don't know yet, again, if it's going to work or not. A lot of people say, I don't want to charge a new device, okay? But maybe in 4 years, it will feel like now tablets, okay? That it's everywhere, that everybody's using tablets and maybe smartwatches. We don't know what will happen in the future, maybe next year with Google Glass and that kind of wearable devices. I mean, we don't know. And the question is, what will happen in 5 years? And to be honest, we don't know, okay? And in 10 years? So it's really complicated to have a prediction, because 5 years ago, there was no idea of tablets. So we didn't have 5 years ago the vision that today we are all going to use tablets. So we don't know what will happen, or what can happen in the market in the next 5 to 10 years. So the question here is, okay, but I need to invest some money, some budget to create apps or solutions for mobile users. How can I be sure that I can invest my money in the right place? So that's usually the question here, okay, because this is changing so fast. In fact, just a quick example. So my original book, Programming the Mobile Web, has been in the market for 3 years, and now I have a second edition. So look at the difference, right, between editions, okay? So it's basically a whole new book. So it's not just a review, it's just a whole new book, just in 3 years, okay? So it's a big difference. So, but there were some constants during all these years that we need to understand and maybe to follow. Ubiquity is one of them. So basically, after a couple of years, that new device or that new thing, like for example, camera. So now cameras are everywhere. Okay, even some smartwatches have cameras. So at the beginning, I remember people saying, "Who wants a camera on the mobile phone? Why do you need a camera in your pocket, right?" And now it feels like nobody can believe without a camera on the pocket or in the pocket. So that's usually things that we need to understand. Each technology that appears and then it breaks the market, in a couple of years, it will be there forever. Okay, and maybe we can see maybe one possible like new technology that will start appearing everywhere are medical sensors, and maybe in 10 years every device with us will have medical sensor, and it will be just something that we think it's standard, it's by default. Performance, it was always an issue, right? So usually we want really frequencies on each mobile device. So that's usually a problem. So right now we have a smartphone that is, I don't know, 1,000 times faster than the computer that we sent to the moon. But we still feel we have a slow devices or a slow networks or a slow everything. So that's something that is usually a problem, right? Performance. Battery. That's the big issue right now, okay? Because I have 43 devices, so think about myself charging all my devices. Because right now I have really cool apps on my phone that can track my steps, can check my sports, but usually my battery can't last the whole day with that, okay? So usually battery is an issue, and it was always an issue, and it will still be an issue for a while. Frustration, that's another constant here in the mobile world. So users frustration, okay? Users wanting to access your service, your company, your products, your content, and they can't. Why? Because you don't have a mobile version, or you have an iPhone app but not an Android app, or the user has a BlackBerry and the user wants to access your website to, I don't know, you have a restaurant and the user wants to call you to make a reservation, and when it accesses your website is in Flash. That's a web technology, and that is not working on mobile phones, so the user can even see your mobile phone number. Or now with smartwatch, I have a smartwatch and I want to call to, I want to talk with Siri, right, the Apple personal assistant, and I want to ask Siri to make a reservation or something like that, and your company is not supporting Siri, so they have frustration. So that's usually another constant that we have here, right? Frustration on users. We need to deal with that to accomplish users' goals. Well, this is just more like a human constant, like we have lost the power of wonder. Okay, so now we see a robot on the street, or we see the self-driving car, and we see, okay, that's fine, right? Or maybe we are surprised for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, now we think it's perfect, and maybe in 3 years we will see holographic screens on the mobile phone, and we will be okay, we'll be fine, right? So we are not realizing that we are reaching sci-fi stories and sci-fi movies really fast, right? Really in a fast way. So we are getting used to everything really, really fast. For example, tablets. Just in 4 years, we are used to tablets right now. It's common to go to any Starbucks anywhere in the world, and you're going to see a lot of people with their own tablets there. And usually companies are behind technology, and that's usually a problem. And that's something that goes with user frustration also. Okay, so we are usually behind technology and behind users' needs on new technology. So I usually, well, maybe that image, things that I usually say that mobile is like a minefield, right? The mobile space is like a minefield. So I don't have experience walking on a minefield, to be honest, but the feeling, right, is that you don't have a clear path, right? So you're starting, you start to walk, you're doing some steps, and you're not sure, okay? And you think that at any moment you can explode. So that feeling, right, the feeling of walking on a minefield is usually the right feeling. I mean, I'm not sure, I'm not happy with that feeling, but I mean, if you have that feeling when you start trying to get into the market, that's the feeling that everybody has, okay? Because we don't see any clear path. So, for example, should we go with native apps on the App Store, or should we create a website? Both. Should we go with the Google Glass application? It's like we don't know. And sometimes when we make the step, we are still not sure about being the right step. And the other problem is that I'm not sure if you have heard this quote, like, but if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I've seen a lot of companies, right, trying to solve a problem with the wrong tool, and that's a common scenario also in the mobile space, right? Because I don't know, I'm just right now giving any example, but let's say on your company you only have web designers, so you try to solve or the mobile problem just with web designers, and they don't know about mobile, and then you spend money in something that is not working. In terms of the future for mobile development, I mean, if you need to start a new service, a new website, a new solution, wherever you're starting a new business, right? Mobile is something that it should be there always, right? Because in the next few years, every company will be there in mobile. If you are not in mobile, you are not in the world, right? There are a couple of examples even with this, right? So I mean, going back to the restaurants example, there were some restaurants in the world that closed because they didn't have the right information on Google Maps. Because now people, before going to a restaurant, is searching on Google Maps or any other app like Foursquare or any other app. So if you are not there, you don't exist anymore. So after a while, that will happen to all the businesses. Okay, so you need to be there with the right tool at the right time. So, but something that you need to understand is that the future is unknown. And I don't think that will change in the future. The future will be always unknown. So to be happy here, right, you need to understand that change is the only constant here. That's the only thing that we know for sure. We know for sure that everything is going to change in the mobile space in the near future. And I know that means that you are going to be angry about this, right? Because how to deal with all of this? Well, first, there are a lot of blurry limits also between what native means, what the web means, what the cloud means. So should we go with a cloud-based solution, a web solution, a native solution, how to read users? So in the future, these limits are going to be blurrier. That means that, I mean, the new version of Android that is coming has these ideas inside. So when the user is accessing your solution or your content, the user might not know if it's a website, it's an app, it's something around your company. That's the only thing that the user will care about. The user is in charge, right? So if the user really wants to use your service from the smartwatch, right, you should have a solution for that. So don't say the user things like, oh, I don't have a mobile version, please go to your desktop. So there are lots of companies, when you're trying to browse the company's website from a mobile phone, it still says, no, this website is not compatible with your device, go to your desktop. So, and the user is not going to the desktop, the user is going to your competitor, right, when you're doing that. So the user is in charge, and you need to listen to the user all the time. The phones will be hubs. So this means that we will have a phone in the near future. We will have a phone with us all the time, but also we will have a lot of other gadgets around, like smartwatches, smart glasses, our TV at home, and the phone will be just the hub. So that means that when we send information to the user, if the user is driving, maybe the car is going to show that information. The information is coming through the phone, but the user is not going to use the phone a lot. The phone will be just the connection to the world on different gadgets and cars, TVs, and other electronic devices at home and office, at your car. We will start seeing some kind of a smart syncing. So I was joking before, saying that if you send me an email, everything shines in my room, right? Because I have a lot of devices.
Okay.
We need to have some things to like synchronize. that information. So we need to think about that. So don't send me a newsletter by email, then send me a message by Facebook, after that an SMS, then a WhatsApp message, and then an app notification. So we need to be smart about how we are going to communicate with the user with all the devices that the user is going to have. Wearable smart devices are a possible future. Look, I'm saying possible because we don't know, right? But it's a possible future. So we need to start thinking about how we are going to provide solutions and services for users on wearable smart devices. Wearable smart devices, okay, it's not maybe the smart shoe, but so far, but there are some smart shoes out there anyway. But we're talking about smart glasses, smart watches, a lot of sports bands, other things that we're going to wear, and they're going with us. Even there are some ideas around smart bras, right? That's a patent from Microsoft, mostly for some medical things. But I mean, we need to understand that this is going to be the future, even if we don't want to. So I know a lot of people say, no, I don't want, I will not wear a smartwatch. I will not buy that thing. But maybe in 2 years, when you buy a new phone, it will come with a smartwatch by force. So it will be something that we won't really manage. It will happen. And finally, so a quick survival kit for the change. Okay, so how can you survive here in this like jungle of the mobile world? Well, so we need to be happy with the change. So we need to embrace the change. If we already know that everything is going to change, right, we won't get into frustration every year when a new iPhone, a new device, or a new wherever it is appears in the market. So because now you have a plan for it, right? So you need to have a plan for the change from scratch. You need to try to create an open architecture and for pull and push. So what it means is that pull means that the user is pulling information from your solution. It can be content, services, information, or wherever the user is trying to accomplish, right? From any kind of device. So for example, a website is usually a pull mechanism. Push means that you, as a company, are going to send information to the user, smart information to the user. You need to be smart about that. To the class, to the email, to WhatsApp, to the class, to the watch, to the class, to everything, right? So I need to be smart about that. What kind of information you can provide to the user at the right time, to any kind of device, okay? So all of the devices out there supports pull and or push. So you need to have an architecture in your mind to serve your users with these two technologies. And embrace the diversity. Just think that you will be in the middle between devices and the data. Don't think about just one specific app. So be smart. So be smart means that don't create just the same website you have, the static website on a watch, for a watch. Right? Think about what the user on a watch will want from you, or a user from a tablet, or a user from a phone. Okay, so or a user from a car. When the user is driving, what kind of information can request from you, or what kind of information you can send to a user based on a smart context, not just geolocation, but also the weather, or I don't know. It depends on the case, right? But you need to create a smart architecture to serve a smart content to the user. And don't think on apps. So I know a lot of companies are like hiring people, or even companies saying, hey, I create an iPhone app, okay, or an Android app. That's not really so important. Okay, it's important as a result, but we need to think about the architecture. So you need to create an architecture for content, services, and then you're going to have different views. So the iOS application, the iPhone application, and the Android application are going to be views of your full solution, right? Mobile solution. So then when a new phone appears in the market, okay, you're going to create another view, okay, for that service. But you already know how to deal with that. Right now, if you're starting projects as small units of apps, then you're going to feel that you're wasting money because you're doing apps and then you need to pay another team for the other app, and after a while you need to update those apps, and then you start thinking, should I update the Windows Phone app? Maybe I don't have the money for that, so I only update the iOS app and the Android app, and then you have your Windows Phone user frustrated because you're not sending them the latest version. So to avoid those problems in the future, it's better to think on a big app, okay, that will serve different kind of views, different kind of clients. And always performance and ubiquity, so be compatible with everybody. It should be first priority. Besides anybody else, right? First priority. If you want to succeed in the mobile space, everything should be as fast as possible, and it should be everywhere. To every platform, you should have a solution. I'm not saying that you should provide the same solution everywhere. You should provide the best possible solution for each kind of context. Don't be a fanatic, right? Don't be a fan. That means, for example, if you think that, oh, iPhone is the best and Android will disappear in the future or wherever, or I will create Android apps just because Android is open source and I don't like all the Steve Jobs ideas, so I will not create iOS apps. So think about the user. Okay, you can be fanatic as a user, but not as the producer. Okay, so just create services for every user out there. And just remember that this guy, Heraclitus, right, like a long time ago, said that the change is the only constant. And that seems to be the reality on the mobile space. So embrace the change, and maybe you are going to be happy. And that's all.
Fantastic, Max.
Going back here.
Great content and also inspiring. I just start with few points that are coming out. Well, number one is the responsive topic.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of talking about responsive, as if responsive is the solution for everything. Is it really the solution? I mean, if you just go, you do your website responsive and then you say, okay, I'm fine. Maybe I don't have an app, but at least my website it works good on all kind of devices. Is it just, you know, a wrong way to see the problem? What's your take on it?
Okay, so you have just reached a painful topic, let's say. So in fact, yesterday I have published an article on this, but it's a technical article. So, and the title of the article is something around, if responsive is your only approach to the mobile solution, you might be losing users. So that's the title, basically. So responsive is a technique, okay? Responsive is a technique, and it's a philosophical idea of the same content that with some technical tricks will render on different devices. The idea is fine, I mean, but it's a technical idea. The problem is that in the real world today, and I mean, it doesn't seem to change in the near future. If you do that only, and you are not understanding how the mobile space works, you have a performance problem. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't do but I'm saying that as your goal. I'm sorry, if you set responsive as your goal. So I want a responsive website. Okay, and the question is why. So why responsive is important? Well, it's important to deliver interfaces for all devices. Yes, that's important. But performance is also more important. So the thing here is that if you have a budget for doing a responsive website, you should also have a budget for making performance improvements. Because if not, users on 3G, right, using, in fact, more than 90% of the users in the world are browsing the web using 3G, right? Not 4G, 3G. And on 3G, there is something called the latency. So there is an inner latency there that makes things slower by default, okay? So that's why if you want to be successful on mobile, it should be as fast as possible. And there are some even real data on that, on why performance impacts on conversion.
But sorry, Max. So you mean that if you create a responsive theme, a responsive design, this is not responsive is not performing well enough on mobile?
So the thing is that responsive is solving one problem. It's solving the problem of creating a technical solution to solve the problem of different screens. Okay? But it's not really solving the performance problem. So it's not responsive fault to sometimes being slow, okay? Because that's not responsive's goal. It's just one technique, okay? There are other techniques also that a professional can use at the same time with responsive, or sometimes some people know this as a different kind of responsive solution. The most important part, besides the name of the technology, is that your solution should work with every device, and of course responsive is one solution to that, and really, really fast on all devices, but mostly on mobile phones. So when you hire a professional or a company that is doing your app, I mean, being responsive is not really the goal. The goal is to be everywhere with the right solution, with a nice UI, as fast as possible. And leave the professional to decide if responsive is the solution or not for your particular case, because it depends on the case. Okay, there are a lot of websites that can be fast and responsive without problems, and a lot of other websites and services and web apps that getting into the responsive might not be the best solution right now. But because this is changing so fast, okay, maybe in 2 or 3 years the answer is different.
So, and also I guess, Max, that there is a strategy before to think about the technicalities, where you say, okay, on desktop I offer this experience, on mobile what kind of experience I want to offer, and maybe it's a totally different thing. Maybe it's just one button that you click, and it's totally different thing than desktop.
Yes and no. Why is that? When I'm saying this, I'm not saying that the mobile user should get like a small version of the desktop website. In fact, it was proved that people want like the full experience, not in terms of design, but for example, there were a lot of examples, not now, but maybe 2 years ago, of newspapers websites, and maybe on places and countries like UK and Argentina, where football, right? Not soccer, football. It's everywhere. People on Sunday, once you get to a lot of people on Sunday goes to the newspaper to get sport results. Okay, but 2 years ago, most of those newspapers, the mobile version of the newspaper was just a small version with just maybe breaking news and just that. You didn't have the results there, so people were very frustrated about that. Okay,
right.
So, however, it's not the same. For example, if you access a Starbucks website from a mobile phone and from a desktop, maybe there are new use cases, because maybe on a mobile phone you are looking for the nearest Starbucks, the nearest branch. And maybe on a desktop, that's not really important. Maybe it's there by a different priority in the menu. Okay, so I'm not saying you should create a really reduced version of the website when you are doing mobile, but of course you need to create a different UI, a different experience, because of the differences in terms of touch devices, in terms of the screen size. But sometimes responsive is the answer, the technical answer, and sometimes it's not the technical answer. Okay. So the issue with responsive web design, to be honest, is that it doesn't have a clear definition.
Right.
So if I ask you what responsive means, well, it depends on who is talking, and that's an issue, right? Because then our companies are asking for responsive websites, but nobody has a clear understanding on what responsive means.
Right. Okay, got it. Another point that came out was about the classic discussion, if I need really to develop a mobile app, or I can have a website in HTML5 website that do the same. And before you give us your opinion and your suggestion, I just want to tell you that I was talking yesterday with Will Reynolds, the founder of Seer Interactive, a very smart SEO guy and digital marketer. And he brought us a very interesting insight about the fact that all the ranking on Google basically is going in a mobile direction, and the weight of the mobile apps installed on phones are they have basically a weight on your ranking on Google. So everything is start to be very, very correlated. And if you don't have a great mobile app, or maybe you're not on the home screen, or maybe you are uninstalled by many phones, everything has got some kind of score. And in the end, you will pay the consequences if you not behave good. So, what's your take? I mean, considering we're talking here about to small medium business, so companies that don't have huge budget to do everything. Often you have to take a decision, as you say before. I do this or I do that. I can't do everything. So, what's your suggestion on this?
Well, different things there. Yes, as I was saying before. There in the near future there will be like this blurry limit. So from a user perspective, so because now when you Google something, you can get results from a website or you can get results from an app. So the user will not really understand where it is, right? So I guess if you have a limited budget, usually the mobile web is the best way to go. So what's the difference between the mobile web and an app right now? So there are some kind of richness ideas of the app, also offline things, but you can also reach an app with a mobile solution. So you can create apps with HTML5. There were a lot of discussion a couple of years ago about performance on that they were not performing well. But today it's a different thing, and we are seeing a lot of companies, even big companies, using web technologies for their apps. So on that particular situation, you can share the same code base for your mobile website and your mobile app. Of course, the app can be maybe a little richer, so the app can have push notifications, something like that the website today cannot achieve. But as a general rule, in the future, I'm seeing that the mobile web will be the best way to spend the money, okay? Because if you want then to upgrade to an app, you can also do that instead of starting from scratch. Because if you, even in terms of budget, right, a mobile website, a good mobile website, okay, because you need to create a good experience. Not every web designer already has the knowledge to do that or the skills to do that. So a mobile website is cheaper than creating an app for iOS and creating an app for Android. And because we have this unknown future, you don't know if maybe in 6 months you need to spend more money to also support, I don't know, other kind of devices. Let's say, I don't know, any company, Coca-Cola, tomorrow releases a phone, and everybody buys the Coca-Cola phone, and now we need to also spend money to create the app.
The Coke app.
So, yeah, exactly, the Coke app. So, so because we don't know what will happen in the future, the risk is always there. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't create apps, right? It's about your budget, right? So, but if you ask me, if you have a small budget, I go with a mobile website and maybe then upgrading that mobile website to an app.
Okay.
So you have both.
Very good. And you never talked in your presentation about design. You talked about a lot about performance and the need of speed and all these kind of things. Not about design. Is it made on purpose? Is it not the first priority that you recommend when a small medium business has to face the mobile strategy? What's your take on design for mobile?
Well, let me maybe change the word. I'm not sure if design should be a priority, but a priority should be UX, right? User experience. So the, user experience includes design, okay? But of course, the user experience is a really important thing. However, if your user is not reaching your website because it's so slow, the user is never gets your UX, okay? So there are a lot of examples of, let's say you are waiting for the bus, or you're waiting for the subway, you're trying to access a website and nothing happens, right? That white screen. Sometimes, of course, it's a problem of your connection, but even with the slow connections, you can do tricks to deliver a fast experience to the user. So I'm saying that for me, the first priority should be performance for mobile users. Of course, it's not the only priority, but after performance, UX is usually the next one. Say, so the user wants to access what the user is wanting really fast. So if I need to browse your whole website to find the menu, for example, you have a problem, okay? So it's not just, okay, you are fast, but the user can't understand your website, your mobile website.
Got it.
Or, for example, there are those companies saying, hey, any website today, any desktop website can be rendered in a mobile phone, right? Mobile phones can see desktop websites. However, the user experience is not so good because you need to start using your fingers to pin and zoom and panning the page to find the menu. So it's not really a good experience.
Okay, got it. All right. So, Max, the people attending our online events always ask me to give them the most practical tips or suggestion, okay? And one of these, obviously, is related always with money and budget. So I just do this question to all the speakers, basically, and I try to understand, you know, the kind of budget that you need to do certain operations. Sometimes we talk about marketing or selling or whatever. In this case, one question that is interesting for our people here with us today is what the budget that is on average a small company should invest on their mobile strategy, which is a very, you know, impossible question to answer because you'll say every time is different, and we know, yes, every time is different, but on average, what I see often is a small company maybe go to a web agency or a media agency, and they just have no idea of how much can it cost to develop an app, how much could it cost to create a mobile presence, and so they just leave it lost. And so can we give some, let's say a fork, you know, an average or some guidelines to move and get some good results?
Yeah, usually these kind of questions are very difficult to answer because, as you know, even you can get solutions for $50 per month, right? So it's really difficult.
Sure.
There is a known number out there that I would say the number, and then we can discuss if that's true or not. There is a known number that says that.
Sorry, Max. Before you keep going, let's do it better. Let's do it better. Imagine that you have to develop your mobile presence, okay? And imagine that you're not able to do it by yourself, or you don't have the time, and you have to say, okay, for my company, now we need something. We need an app, we need something, and we have to be great on mobile. What's the budget in your mind that you would like to spend, or that you think would be fair to have a good result?
Okay, yeah. So there is a number in the community, right, that is always mentioned when it says, okay, if you want an app, a good app, right, for one platform, that number is $20,000. Okay, so that's one number that is in the market if you want an app. So okay, so that's a number you need for design, UX, maybe the server components to communicate with your backend. But maybe you can get a solution with $1,000 or maybe, because it depends on what are you going to do. My main usually advice is you need to invest more at the beginning to create that kind of framework on your own company to support different mobile clients, okay? Because again, if you just focus on one platform, okay, I want to create my website or my app, then it's just the website. If tomorrow you need to support glass users, then you say, oh, I need to spend again $20,000 or again $5,000. So that's why I'm saying if you start like creating a brainstorm with the professional and seeing all the solutions that you can offer to users in pull and push, then you define that architecture on your company, and then you said, okay, now I'm going to start with the iOS client and the mobile web client. And because you already have everything on your mind, the cost of those clients is not really so high because you already know what you're going to do because it's just a different client to your whole framework. Okay, but again, the number. It depends even on the kind of company. It's not the same restaurant,
Sure,
like
sure.
a factory, because even the kind of customers that you can support are different. So are you going to support an app on the store, or maybe your customers are just 100 people, so you're not going to the store with a solution, because you are selling, I don't know, clothes to another people, and you are not selling clothes to the market.
Got it, got it. Right. So set up your strategy first, your overall
because
your overall
if not,
strategy.
you're going to feel after a year that you wasted your money, because then you realize that, okay, now I'm old with my app, right? And again, because you were not embracing the change, you are just creating one product that has a very short lifetime. Because again, then iOS 9 will appear next year, and maybe
Sure.
iOS 9 needs something different, and then you need to pay again a developer, and
Got it,
you
got
need
it,
to
got it.
embrace the future, and maybe you need to define a constant budget, a yearly budget, okay, to support the change.
Got it. A couple of questions more, Max, and then we just arrived at the end, but I was really interested in your opinion. Another point here is related with the team inside the small medium company. So obviously a small medium company, they don't have teams like Coca-Cola could have that can say, okay, let's bring 50 people only for this mobile project, and then we see how it goes. No, in a small context, obviously small business, you can't do that. So your resources are very limited. What's your suggestion here? What's the right way to approach this problem? A company should have, let's say, one person in charge inside the company that is overviewing all the mobile activities, or just outsource everything to a media company? What's the guidelines, the right guidelines here again?
Well, yeah, I suggest that if you can have one guy managing the mobile strategy, that's a good thing, because if you say, okay, I have 2 developers in my company, so I will teach them how to create. I will pay the training for iOS and Android, but you need maybe the mobile web, HTML5, and then Windows Phone, but you need really different skills for those platforms, and maybe those developers are also working on your internal systems, right? So maybe it's too much for them, okay? So, but maybe you can, if you have web designers and web developers, well, you can teach them, you can training them on the mobile web and how to do it right, okay? But probably you will need someone that is really behind the news on mobile, is really checking stats, is really verifying conversion measurements on your company on mobile, and is the one that knows, okay, now is the time to create the client for the Android Wear smartwatch. Okay, so you need someone to decide when to get into each new market in the mobile space. And that's something that will be like the mobile specialist in your company.
Okay, I will close with another impossible question. But Max, I mean, we have invited you for a reason, so otherwise it was too easy, you know, if the questions were easy. A big point that I saw coming out during this week is the following. Everyone say, okay, it's very important that if you develop an app, you finish on, let's say, on the home screen of your users, or second screen or third screen, okay? But just try to be there. and which is fine. I mean, I like the idea, but what I know is that if I turn on my smartphone now, the apps that I found are from guys like WhatsApp, Twitter, Chrome, Gmail, Messenger, Skype. Skype is very, very difficult to compete, and the space here is anyway limited. So it's very difficult to compete with those guys because they are very good. They have a lot of money, resources, blah blah blah. So if you are a small medium company, how do you approach this problem? I mean, you just give up and say, I will never be here. That's it. I will focus on something else. I mean, my life will keep going. Or do you think there are strategies to get this kind of result, which is very difficult?
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not sure if that's an impossible answer, impossible question. It's a good one, but I think that you should see at the guidelines on the wearable devices. So usually guidelines on wearable devices, I think, have an answer for that question. So here on my wearable device, I don't have an applications menu. Okay, the same happens on the Google Glass. So basically, it works with some kind of rich, smart notifications. And that goes back to my presentation where I was talking about the smart idea. So you need to have smart data. So to be in user's mind, it's not just having an icon on the home screen, okay? Because the user is always going to use like these big mainstream apps on the home screen. But you need to be there when the user needs you. So somehow you need to be smart to understand when the user is going to need you and work with the push messaging system to the glass, to the watch, to the device, to wherever. But I'm not saying send the user every day at 3 p.m. a message, hello user. No, I'm not saying that, right? Because the user is going to delete the app, right? But if you are on time when the user needs you, then the user will have you in your mind all the time, because every time the user needs you, you will be there. I'm again doing another example on sports because we were talking about the World Cup. But if you know that the user and you're a sports company and you know the user follows, I don't know, Manchester City, so you can send information, not every information, but I don't know when the match is going to start or something like that. Then you're smart about the data you're sending to the user, and the user will remember you. But if you send one notification every time any match starts, the user will delete you. And that's happening with a lot of apps right now, that they are basically spamming you all the time because they think that that's better for them, but that's not better.
I like it. Yeah, also because you change the focus from having your icon on the smartphone to the be useful in the right context. So
data, useful data. That's not your icon and your name. It's the data that will bring the user to your icon later, right?
I'm thinking, for instance, at this time of the day, I always get hungry for ice cream, for instance. And I have a Tesco app. In UK, there is Tesco, which is the largest, like Walmart. And actually, if they were smart, they could understand, something about my habits and say, I don't know, around this time, say, hungry for ice cream, we will bring it in 15 minutes, you want it, and I would buy every time, It would be a great push notification.
Exactly. And now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you think that Google and Amazon are getting into that field? So now Google in San Francisco has the Google Shipping Express service that will, because Google with that data will create a profile of your needs. And maybe next year, it will give you that information. It will say, I know that it's Thursday, and on Thursday, you go for pizza. Do you want, I have a discount for the other pizza guy. Do you want me to do you want to try that? So, and they are getting that information from everywhere right now.
Very good. All right, Max, we have to stop here. It was very, very nice to talk with you. A lot of interesting tips, and thanks for being open and answering all kind of questions. I really appreciate that. If people want to follow you, where should we direct them?
Twitter, FIRT, or I mean, my email is my surname, my last name at Gmail, so it's easy. But anyway, I mean, if you Google me, you will find me.
Right, firt.mobi. I love your domain. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And by the way, Max, I love you have a menu where basically say, I don't know, 1 billion talks done, 19 years. I really love it. I will copy that. If it's in Creative Commons,
Sure.
I will copy on my website. I do it. All right, Max Firtman, thank you very much, and all the people still here with us. Just let's meet tomorrow for the final day of SME's Mobile Strategies. Thank you, Max. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.